various locations via the miracle of Skype. It's the 40th anniversary season of the LTN Hour. Let's talk NASCAR with your host, Todd Bailing, co-hosts Brian Schmidt, PJ Noodleman, and producer Dangerous Dan Margetta. Call the show anytime at 414-421-7901. And now, the creator and host of the fastest hour in radio, Todd Bailing.
Nice to have you on Indianapolis Sunday. No, it's a wrong race. First of all, that guy's dead. And second of all, we don't play that at this one. This is a different Indianapolis race. This is stock cars on the hallowed grounds, back on the oval again. How great is that? Hello, everybody. Todd Bailing in beautiful Linden Station, Wisconsin, joined by my three partners, beginning with Brian Schmidt over on the other side of the state in Utzberg, USA. Hi.
Morning. Yes, this is kind of cool to see them back at the Brickyard. This is the anniversary of the Brickyard 400, and let's hope that the Cup cars can do what the Xfinity cars did yesterday, because they put on a heck of a show. Completely unexpected to see that type of racing from stock cars on the hallowed oval at Indianapolis, but boy, did they put on a show.
Yeah, that's good stuff. PJ Noodleman over on the other side of the state in Trempealeau, Wisconsin, on the other coast. Hi, PJ.
Hi there. Happy to be here, and happy on the other NASCAR front to see Ty Majeski get in victory lane.
Yes, he did. It's been quite a week for Ty, actually, after we saw him win twice at La Crosse on Wednesday. And, of course, Dangerous Dan Margetta, our longtime producer, engineer, partner, and videographer. Hi, Dano.
Hey, back at Indy and back on the oval where we belong. It's hard to believe that Brickyard's 30 years old this year now. I mean, it was such a big deal when it first came out. You know, nobody could believe that we're going to run stock cars in Indianapolis, and it went through some ups and downs and was on the road course, but I'm glad it's back on the oval because I think that's where it needs to be.
Yeah, it does. I did go to the first Brickyard 400, and therefore check that off my bucket list and have no interest in ever going back for any race ever again. I couldn't see squat, and I was there, big, you know. And that's
but I've heard that the Fan Canyon is like the place to really check things out. Am I wrong on that? Like where you've got the fans on both sides of the track there?
Yeah, I mean, I was there in 19. Well, I was there for the second one that Dale Earnhardt won when they battled a hurricane. And then I went in 19 and I snuck into the penthouse because there's an elevator unoccupied and got into some of the really nice seats. And boy, if you could sit up there, you could see a lot. I could see them come out of 4 all the way down the front straightaway, turns 1, turns 2, and then start heading down the back straightaway. I think those are like $500 seats for the Indy 500. I don't know what they were for the Brickyard 400, but there are spots where you can see quite a bit there, and you have big screens all over to be able to see a lot of the action. Dan and I sat up there last year for the IMSA race too, and you get to see quite a bit over there. So there's nice spots.
Yeah, well, when I went, hey, look, we got seats on the start-finish line. Awesome. How great is this? And you go sit there, and then you wait a minute. Here they come. And that was that. And then, there's big screens. If I wanted to watch on TV, I would have stayed home. Well, it was fine. Hey, listen, I've only been to one football game at Lambeau Field, too. I've done that, seen it. Thank you. I'll watch on TV from now on. It's a TV game anyway. So, it's all right. I'm funny that way. Go ahead, Dan.
Remember how crazy it was when they first got on the racetrack, though? I mean, I was there for the first practice and everything, and it was just, you never thought you'd ever see it back then. It was like, oh my God, NASCAR's in Indy, and there's stock cars on the track. Remember who the first guy on the racetrack was? Anybody remember who that was?
No.
Rick
Schrader
Mann.
was the first. Yeah, I think it was like H.B. Bailey or something. Wasn't he like the first qualifier?
H.B.
And that was back.
Name in a while.
And that was back in the day when it was just Indy cars. Nothing else raced on that track, correct? I mean, until NASCAR kind of broke that mold, it was strictly the Indy 500, and that was the only cars that ever, touched that racetrack. And now, I mean, you got everything running there.
Xfinity, and I think IROC ran there too, didn't they?
Yeah, IROC ran there back in the day. The old Grand American Rolex Sports Car Series ran there. I mean, SEC, once they put the road course in, it kind of opened it up for everything.
Didn't IROC bring about the safer barriers because was our line deck that smashed so hard on the inside wall?
Yes.
Yep. Oh boy. You sure remember a lot of stuff. Well, what a great history the place has. And we're back on the oval again, and Tyler Reddick and his Japanese car will start from pole at 181.932. Hey, Indy it's a very diverse group that races there in the Indy cars. We might as well have a diverse field of cars with some Canadian-built, Chevrolets and some American-built Fords and some Japanese-built Toyotas. Just think of the diversity we're including here. It's wonderful. Don't you think? But they've been racing. They ran the Brickyard race yesterday. Boy, here's a name we don't say very often. Riley Herbst wins the race in a Stuart Haas car, soon to go out of business, or at least be changed into what they call the Haas factory team. And Herbst's name is getting kicked around. Dan, lately, what are there rumors or where's he going?
Everybody says he's going to 2311, maybe their third car, and that's part of the Monster Energy deal. We were discussing that. It's funny, we were discussing that during a week. We talk about things going on racing. We're like, what has he ever won? Well, he won that one Vegas race. Can he get a cup ride? Well, he goes out and wins Indy. So, he shows he can get it done.
Apparently there was some kind of rumor this week that Haas has offered him the ride in one of his Xfinity cars for next year, but that's at this point all it was a rumor. That Brickyard Xfinity race at the Brickyard yesterday. Sam Mayer was involved in a lap one incident, which on some accounts I read. They made it sound like he was somehow at fault, and that was not the case in the least. A.J. Allmendinger made it 3 wide, left Sam in the middle, and it looked to me like they just took the air off of that thing, and it just spun around with cars on both sides of them. 12 cars involved. It was bad all the way around. And, Sam was being very humble until he saw the video of what actually happened.
Yeah, he was in the middle of his interview afterwards, and he was kind of, almost like taking the blame, and he's watching it, and he's like, oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's awful. We can't do that. AJ kind of went up there and kind of just, like, hip-checked him a little bit and got him sideways, and it's hard to decipher what actually happened there. People on the replays think Sam slowed down too much, and AJ wasn't expecting it, so AJ went high instead of hitting him, and I don't know. It's lap one. You got to have a little bit more patience than that. But that package that the Xfinity cars used created restarts, which were spectacular, and that's when you had to do all your passing. It was a low horsepower thing. It almost looked like you're watching Indy cars on there. The way they jockey back and forth and constantly, change positions and the runs you'd get on people down the straightaway. It was really, really good. And hopefully the
are we
cars
expecting
can
the same
that.
today, do you think, Brian?
It's hard to say. We really don't know. These cars have never been on this track during practice. Practice, they're kind of just out there on their own. We didn't really get to see the cars in packs at all. So it's a great unknown going into this race today. We really don't know what we're going to see.
They're way faster.
Go ahead.
Yes, way faster.
Cup cars are way faster than the Xfinity cars. And I thought that finish was outstanding. Maybe one of the best stock car races I've seen on the Indy Oval with 3 cars going for the win. It looked like I was watching the Indy 500 with another car in it.
Absolutely. Yeah, Eric Almirola was the leader going into turn number 3, and Eric Almirola ended up finishing 3rd. And he spun like 25 or 30 laps from the finish. So we almost look like you're going to have a spin and win, like you saw in 85 with Danny Sullivan.
Sullivan, yeah, and that Miller car. By the way, the evolution of SVG continues. He ended up 4th, his highest, best finish on an oval so far. So Van Gisbergen's career is coming right along for a guy that has been coming late to the party. I'm just amazed and amused, and I can't wait to see how this guy does when he gets the cup. By the way, Dan, speaking of which, there's some things that, well, I tell you what we'll do. We'll sneak away. We'll talk about some of the evolution of next year's lineup, how it's going to look, and where some of these guys are going to end up. We've had some announcements this week at that time of year. We'll be right back.
The place to be this Saturday night is the Fair Park in Plymouth. See the bumper-to-bumper IRA sprint cars, the Ake-Ride Auto Plymouth Dirt Track Racing MSA sprints, and the Sheboygan Flooring B-Mods. A great way to close out the month of July, featuring many of the best drivers in the Midwest displaying their skills on the highly banked Third Mile Oval. And remember, kids, the annual Candy and Coin Drop, sponsored by Vandevart Concrete, coming up on August 3rd. This Saturday, be at the Fair Park in Plymouth. On-track activity at 5:30. We'll see you there.
Get ready for the return of IndyCar to the Milwaukee Mile.
The NTT IndyCar Series returns to Milwaukee August 30th through September 1st for the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250th weekend.
Don't miss the first IndyCar event at the historic 1 Mile Oval since 2015, featuring an NTT IndyCar Series doubleheader with races on both Saturday and Sunday. Check out the free fan fun zone with live music, great food, and family fun all weekend long.
Get your tickets now at wistatefair.com and join us for a Labor Day weekend celebration at the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s.
The summer heat is on, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
This is The Herd.
Wow, 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 wow.
With Colin Cowherd.
Yeah. This stuff is so predictable. Everybody's freaking out with Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese is picking on her and hard fouls. Women who have committed flagrant fouls are not all villains. Diana Taurasi had one last year. Is she a villain?
This is The Herd.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
The excitement continues to build. The big Labor Day doubleheader weekend is closing in, believe it or not. Yeah, that's right. It seems like we just got by the 4th of July, and now we're counting down the days to Labor Day weekend. Dave First, who has been on with us before, he's the VP of communication for the IndyCar Series, and he joins us. Dave, Toronto this weekend. Got to be kind of exciting, huh?
Yeah, I know this is actually going to be really exciting, I think, because we just had qualifying yesterday, and the top three in points are scattered throughout the field. I mean, we've got, Alex Palou, the two-time NTT IndyCar Series champion, who leads the points right now, had a rough qualifying effort yesterday, so he's starting all the way back in 18th. This afternoon. Will Power, another former champion, Indy 500 champion as well. He's going to start 9th. Pato Award was 3rd in points. He's going to start 14th. So it's going to be interesting to see. We could have a big points shakeup this weekend, which is all fine and dandy because, we like a good tight points race when we head to Milwaukee here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, very interesting. And then talk about the end of the season for IndyCar. I don't remember, and I've been following IndyCar all my life, the season ending like this, where you have, after today, you have the Oval at St. Louis, you have the road course at Portland, and then you finish with 3 straight Oval races. I mean, we went from a time when we hardly had any Oval racing at all in IndyCar to this is how the end of the season is going to be. Really interesting. And what does the whole series think about having that many Ovals?
Yeah. Well, and if you go back further before unification, 2008, the old IRL days, it was nothing but ovals. So this is kind of a throwback to those days a little bit to wrap up a season on 3 straight ovals. And I'm telling you, the drivers all love this idea because it's an opportunity, especially a doubleheader like a Milwaukee Mile. If you're 3rd or 4th in points and you have a really good race one on that Saturday, chances are you might have you double down, if you will, and then have another ice race on Sunday. So it's an opportunity to really pick up some points and make up some ground, I think, in the championship. So I think it's exciting. And when it was first announced, let's see here, back several months or so ago, that Milwaukee was going to be a doubleheader, and then Nashville Super Speedway was going to be the season finale. The fans all it was a great reaction from the fans. They all love this idea. So it's going to be fascinating, I think, to your point, to see this play out in these last couple of events.
And you think about it, with Milwaukee being the second last, weekend of the season, a lot of these guys haven't really raced in the Milwaukee Mile. They had a test here, and that was it. I mean, that throws that factor into it as well, as far as the point race, too. I mean, there's a lot of interesting behind-the-scenes stories going into the Milwaukee race, as well as the action on the racetrack. That's going to be a pretty decent weekend.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a great weekend. It's shaping up, obviously, and tickets are available at WIS State Fair, WISStatefair.com. And the folks at Wisconsin State Fair Park have been excellent in helping promote this event, and it's going to continue and amp up certainly as we get closer to Labor Day weekend. But I mean, think about it. It's the penultimate weekend, right? So two big opportunities to make up a lot of ground, and it is going to be interesting to see how some of these drivers have never been to the Milwaukee Mile, at least for a race, to see their reaction to it. We all know, we've been around the sport long enough. We know about some of the great racing that IndyCar has had at the mile, and so to kind of dust off some of those memories, it's going to be a lot of fun.
And now throw in the hybrid thing. I mean, that makes it even more exciting. Watching some of the races at Iowa, seeing how they utilize that on the oval, we kind of figured how that was going to work on the road course stuff, but using that and strategically how that works on the oval, I think that's going to even make it more interesting.
Well, and it makes a difference, right? I mean, it's easy to talk through it and realize that, what kind of a difference it makes on a road or street course. But there's so much braking going on. There's so much regen going on in deployment up to 120 horsepower. But we saw it at Iowa, specifically in qualifying. You got to use this thing. Otherwise, you're going to give up, a tenth or more to the rest of the field. And knowing how tight qualifying is in the NTT IndyCar series, the last thing you want to do is give up a tenth here or there. So it's extremely important for these drivers to figure it out. And obviously the ones that can figure it out the quickest are going to have a huge advantage.
And I think Milwaukee has a 27-car field. I mean, there's a lot. There's traffic at Milwaukee. It's always been. If you can get through traffic, you can win Milwaukee. And you throw all that in there as well. That's another interesting factor that, you got to bring into these races, that there's going to be a lot of traffic. You got to only, work your hybrid thing and your power and all that, but you got to get your way through a lot of traffic.
Yeah, that's a great point. For the second straight year, the series has been at 27 full-time entries, which is, we did it last year. That was a record, series record. It's great to see a full paddock. It's great to, travel week in and week out and see these teams and crews, continue to grow. It's a great story right now with IndyCar. It's also kind of a good problem to have when you go to a tight oval like Iowa, certainly at the mile. Yeah, you got to deal with traffic, but it's the same for everybody. You're going to win a championship. You got to deal with it.
Let's talk about how the weekend's going to work at Milwaukee. The first race on Saturday, that's going to be like a later in the afternoon, evening type event, and then you roll off on Sunday around noonish. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It's kind of a quick turnaround, but we also saw that at Iowa as well. In fact, the turnaround at Iowa, the doubleheader there for the Hy-Vee IndyCar race weekend, was really really tight for the teams and the crews. But they all managed through it okay. But I think it's going to be great in terms of, for those drivers that are maybe second or third or fourth in points further back. Going to be a great opportunity for these drivers to make up a lot of ground heading into the season finale, which will be 2 weeks after the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s.
It's also going to include other. I mean, your support series is going to be right. The Indy Next series is going to run there too. I'm kind of interested in how those cars work on the mile. Talk about field of cars there. You got a lot of guys guys and gals. We saw Jamie Chadwick win at Road America in that series too. Enough cars there to make it interesting for them. And a lot of those drivers don't really have a lot of oval experience either, do they?
No, and that's exactly, we talk about how it's the top developmental series in IndyCar, and this is a great opportunity for those drivers to really, learn the craft of what it takes to drive on an oval. I mean, obviously there's some guys in that series and ladies that have kind of mastered road courses and the street courses, which is challenging. But when they make it to the NTT IndyCar series, as you know, the great thing about the series and what makes it all the more challenging, or maybe one of the toughest to win in the world, is because you got to be good on a road course. You got to be good on the street course, and certainly you got to be good at the oval. Certainly at the Indianapolis 500, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as well. So this is a great training ground for those drivers to figure out what it takes to succeed on an oval.
Well, Dave, first, we're very much looking for the major league of open wheel racing back at the Milwaukee Mile. It's coming up fast, and believe it or not, we're the anticipation has been killing us.
It really has been, and I can tell you, obviously I'm a part of the series, so I see it week in and week out, and a lot of the drivers are really looking forward to the Milwaukee Mile. The few that have been there before, they're telling stories about what it's like, the great fans that are there in the Milwaukee area, the great history that I'm sure you guys know about the history of the Milwaukee Mile, but some of these other drivers are just learning about that. So many times you talk about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the history that is there. I mean, heck, the Milwaukee Mile's got even a further, richer history that goes back further than Indianapolis does.
21 years. Pretty good.
Yeah. You guys weren't covering the first couple races at the mile, were you?
Seems like it. Only 40 of that 121 have we been doing.
There you
this.
go.
Dave, thanks so much for taking a little time in Toronto and being on with us. Best of luck with your event today.
Yeah, appreciate it. Run at 1 o'clock on Peacock. Should be a good time. Thanks, guys.
Dave first from the IndyCar Series. We'll be right back.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer, no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer, just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit BonafideSafe.com.
Is the Herd.
Wow, 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 wow.
With Colin Cowherd.
If you want to see the Caitlin Clark effect, here it is. Bad team, small market, and they are worth more, the Indiana Fever, than the Los Angeles Sparks, the Dallas, Atlanta, Washington teams, and almost equal to a team in Chicago.
This is the Herd.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
And welcome back. We're talking about a little bit of I wouldn't call it a shakeup, but we're starting to see some of the dominoes fall finally. And I guess it started with nobody's surprise whatsoever. Cole Custer was officially named. He's going to be back in the number 41 car for the Haas factory team. The biggest news that came out of the announcement, if you'll remember that Haas was due to end their association with Ford, and that was part of the big question mark of what was going on over there. Well, they announced they have a new alliance with Roush freaking Keselowski Racing. It's going to be a Ford again, and it's one car. Didn't we hear from more than one person that a one-car Cup team is almost counterproductive? It just doesn't pay to have only one team, and you need more than one to share information.
I think that's why their alliance comes in, with RFK. So, yeah, it's a single-car Haas team number 41, but they're going to have a little bit of a technical alliance and some help from, Roush Keselowski, which would be two other cars. So it's kind of like a multi-car team, even though it's not on paper, it's only one car. I think you can't have a single car team without some kind of alliance somewhere. Interesting there is the other Ford team front row align themselves with Penske. So you kind of almost you have Haas, RK, front row, and Penske kind of in an alliance together. But I do think Ford's doing a better job of working together all across the board too. I think they have like a top Ford performance deal that'll help those guys out as well.
Many times in a deal like that, they will make these alliances. They make a deal where Roush Fenway actually would provide personnel and equipment and it's basically all leased. I wonder if Haas would actually do something like that. Do you think?
It might be. Remember back when that Furniture Row team, remember the 78 car? That was kind of their deal with Joe Gibbs, and it worked out fine and great until Furniture Row started beating Joe Gibbs, so we'll see.
And then there was a pissing contest between crews and everything, and they were all employed by the same. They get their paychecks from the same guy, Gibbs, but they were fighting in the pits. I mean, I thought it was a very interesting alliance. The whole dynamic was very different. Also some other things that are coming. Of course, Hailie Deegan, the most popular driver in the Xfinity series. That came out that there's a rumor, Dan, and I'm trying to figure out where the rumor came from.
Which rumor are we talking about?
Hailie Deegan and the hot factory Xfinity car.
Yeah, I saw it on Thursday, Friday is when I kind of saw some rumblings about it and wasn't sure how true it was. But then Haas came out himself yesterday and said, yeah, we're talking to her. They said that if Riley Herbst goes to maybe 23-11 in the third car there with the Monster Energy thing, that would open up a seat on the Xfinity side for Hailie Deegan, who also has a Monster Energy Association. Remember that. Be interesting. Yeah, until Haas came out and said they still believe in her and they think she's got, some potential and they're willing to put some effort behind her. I wasn't sure how true it was, but it looks like they're talking to her. Some people say it's a done deal. I don't know, Brian, that's probably her last chance, right?
Yeah, and remember, her best performance ever was in a Haas car associated with Bobby Dodd SS Greenlight Racing that they ran at Vegas, I think it was, was it 2023, I think, the spring race. And she did real well, finished like 12th in that race, had an outstanding run with it. So yeah, with Custer's car opening up and Riley Herbst, possibly moving on, there's going to be some room there for her. And this would be her last shot. I mean, this is where she had her best run was with this team back then. Now let's see if you can put it together, fully. It's going to be what kind of people they put around her. That's going to be the main thing. And the Haas Xfinity team has definitely picked up their game here in the last couple of weeks, running a lot better. So if she can provide the feedback to the crew chief and then they can put everything together and have some decent runs, then she might have a future. If this falls flat on her face and they're running in the back, like they were with this last ride here, then that's going to be the end for her. So I hope it works out. I think
the bottom line is everybody who is on that team they gotta wanna. Everybody's gotta wanna, and you can't have any negative people thinking bad stuff about her to make it work.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta believe in your driver. If the crew chief don't believe in your driver and that becomes evident, it just goes south in a hurry.
The team will be a 2-car team, and neither driver, to the best of my recollection, we hear is different possible rumors of people that might be coming and going. But with Hailie Deegan, what I like to say, 1 for the money, 2 for the show. Hailie's there for the money. However, she could be quite a show if things turn out the right way, and maybe this is the final thing she needed for her career to keep moving. Couple of items in the on the calendar here. We haven't mentioned that Dean Billings passed away. He was a Angel Park midget driver, and his accident was 25 years ago. As a matter of fact, to the month, 25 years ago, and he passed away last week. He had a brain injury that was took him. Really put him in out of it for the last 25 years, and we're pass along our condolences to the entire Billings family, which I actually knew a couple of them. Also, I won't be watching the Indianapolis race on television today. I'm not going to do it because I'm going to do something that I never thought I would ever do in my life. I'm going to Rich Bickle's wedding this afternoon. Yeah. Well, I mean, not that I don't have full confidence it's going to happen, but I keep waiting for the phone to ring that it's called off. No, Rich and Darcy, he finally met the right girl. It's all perfect. He waited his whole life and went through a couple of fiancés until he got to the right place, and I think Rich and Darcy will be fine, and they get married in Portage this afternoon. And one other little tidbit here, and it's not really a tidbit. Our own PJ's stepdad passed away this week at the age of 91, Ralph Hicks, and we're real sorry about that, PJ.
Thank you.
And, his funeral will be this coming Thursday. Right?
Yep.
In where?
In Lansing, Iowa.
Lansing, Iowa. Oh, an Iowa guy. We'll be back after these.
The place to be this Saturday night is the Fair Park in Plymouth. See the bumper-to-bumper IRA sprint cars, the Akrite Auto Plymouth Dirt Track Racing MSA sprints, and the Sheboygan Flooring B-Mods. A great way to close out the month of July, featuring many of the best drivers in the Midwest displaying their skills on the highly banked Third Mile Oval. And remember, kids, the annual Candy and Coin Drop, sponsored by Vandevart Concrete, coming up on August 3rd. This Saturday, be at the Fair Park in Plymouth. On-track activity at 5:30. We'll see you there.
Get ready for the return of IndyCar to the Milwaukee Mile.
The NTT IndyCar Series returns to Milwaukee August 30th through September 1st for the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250th weekend.
Don't miss the first IndyCar event at the historic 1 Mile Oval since 2015, featuring an NTT IndyCar Series doubleheader with races on both Saturday and Sunday. Check out the free fan fun zone with live music, great food, and family fun all weekend long.
Get your tickets now at wistatefair.com and join us for a Labor Day weekend celebration at the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s.
The summer heat is on, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Love it. Embrace it. Right now, the Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick. You could go back in history and watch one athlete play.
Well, I'd say Babe Ruth.
Any chance it would be disappointing?
But you're right. If I'm watching a baseball game and he goes 1 for 4 with a home run, I'd be like, yeah, okay, he's good.
Catch up old Curly's fastball.
Yeah.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan and the Danettes and you.
Weekday mornings, 8 to 11 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Last week at Pocono, Ryan Blaney jumped right into victory lane there. He was one of the 12 that had already won, so there are 4 open spots left, and it's not beginning to look to me like it's going to be all that open. Martin Truex has a 137 point advantage over the cut line. Then it's 67 points over the cut line for Ty Gibbs, 43 points over the cut line for the 17 car and Buescher, and then Chastain is still 27 points over, which, you know, that's pretty substantial. You just have some consistent finishes, and you don't have to win a race, really. And right now, Bubba Wallace is the guy 27 points behind. You know, Briscoe 75. I mean, really, it's starting to shape up. Unless one of those guys wins a race, it looks like it's going to end up this way, don't you think?
Which it's entirely possible that some of them guys win races yet. I mean, we have 5 to go, including today. And then after the break here, the 2-week break, we have Richmond, Michigan, Daytona, which is a crapshoot, and Darlington, which can be a crapshoot. So, you know, anything's possible here in the next 5 races. Today, too, could be. We don't know. It's a great unknown going into today. These cars have never been on this track. So it's very possible that you could get, you know, 3 new winners yet before we get to the playoffs.
Yeah. Wait, don't forget we have 2 weeks off coming the next 2 weeks, too, for the NBC Olympics. Dan?
Yeah, can you imagine, Adam, if we had 3 new winners, what a shakeup that would be? That'd really make things crazy going into the season regular season finale. But Todd, we have a caller actually, Bob from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Morning.
Sorry, I
Good
missed
morning,
that.
gentlemen.
Hi, Bob.
By the way, I'm calling about Haley Deegan, but Jefferson last night. I've never seen so many people in that track, so that was good to see last night. There's a direction for Haley Deegan that I heard last week. She may be going to Indy cars. She's been hanging around Michael Andretti. She recently started following the IndyCar series, Michael Andretti, and another IndyCar associated thing to that. So they're speculating she may go to their feeder series because they have women in those cars that can help her and then move up from there. But that's kind of the rumor I saw last week with her.
Yeah, we mentioned it last week in the program.
Yeah, she was at the Iowa race. They saw her there, and that's kind of where that came from. However, I think if this Haas thing is legit and it opens up, I think that's probably where she would go.
Yeah, definitely. She's been stock car all her life, but hopefully she finally turns things around and gets the right people in front of her. So, thanks, gentlemen.
Well,
have a great day.
Yeah, that kind of is, the whole point of possibly going over to this Haas factory team. There are other things happening around the sport. The track house team, which we're not real sure about, their driver lineup exactly. Are we, Dan? I mean, we know some things, but I'm not positive we know about a third possible charter over there.
They're going to need one, and everybody says they're going to get one of the Stewart Haas charters. Ross Chastain is signed. He's good for at least a couple years, another year or two. Suarez is in a contract year, but he expects to stay there. So he's not signed yet, but there's no reason to believe he's not going to be there. Now they have Shane Van Gisbergen and they have Zane Smith. So they have 4 drivers, maybe 3 charters. What's going to happen there? That's the big question. Probably the next domino that might fall. Do you bring Shane Van Gisbergen up into the Cup Series and run him on that charter, or does he need another year Xfinity? He's probably ready to go to Cup, I think, with the following he's got. Zane Smith right now, they loaned him out to Spire. He can't be there anymore because McDowell's taking that ride. So they got to figure out what to do with Zane Smith. Does he get loaned out to another team to run on their charter, or do they let him go and let him find something on his own? He's been linked to the front row ride that's open. There's one front row ride. It's between kind of him and Sam Mayers, everybody's talking about. I can't see him loaning a Chevy guy loaning to a Ford team. It's happening there.
No.
Then there's Colleague cars at the 16 and 31. They're kind of wide open for next year. I don't know what's going on. I don't think Hemrick isn't signed, and the 16 car's kind of been multiple drivers this year. There could be a spot to park them there on their charter if that happens too. So a lot to go on yet, and a lot of things to figure out.
And people wonder why Ty Majeski seems so content to just stay in the trucks. Because there's a lot of drama once you get out of that pool, and you have to fight to keep your ride if you don't have money.
Yeah, and yet, if there was an offer, I got a feeling he'd move in a hurry. Just a thought. By the way, we remember the name Mark Lazary, don't we? He was one of the group that had purchased the Milwaukee Bucks. He he sold his share in the team, but he runs an outfit called Avenue Sports Fund, and what they do is they invest in different franchises, and the Avenue Sports Fund bought into Trackhouse Racing, so that might give them some capital where they might now be able to purchase a charter. I mean, and, they're going to need one, it sounds like. So, interestingly enough, funny how these investment groups are becoming more and more involved in NASCAR. Which, speaking of involvement, the Race Team Alliance came back and offered a counter proposal to the last crazy, it seemed like to me, proposal that NASCAR came up with. Of course, NASCAR hasn't come up with anything yet, but boy, oh boy, this week you gotta, as much as when you watch the 11. Jeez, my brain farts every once in a while. What's that, Dan?
Hamlin, right?
Hamlin, he comes out and says things that when he's talking about it on the racetrack is one thing. When he's talking about negotiations with NASCAR, it almost blows you away. And he's saying how it's what some of the specifics are. He says in all other major sports, and I didn't even think about it or realize this, that when the NFL signs a contract for big money, that the money is distributed among all the franchises. Well, NASCAR doesn't do that. As a matter of fact, NASCAR poaches money away from franchises, don't they?
Yeah, and they've done that countless times.
Yeah, you'll see a sponsor come in on a smaller team, and then suddenly it's the official something of NASCAR a year or two later. They've also directed some money to other teams, too. I mean, they've gotten some sponsorship deals and pushed them over. I think Lowe's was the one that started out being that originally, way back when they came on.
Yeah, amazing. Just we're going to have to keep a close eye because the clock is ticking on the Daytona 500, and if they don't have it done by then, it's going to hit the fan. We'll be back.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit BonafideSafe.com.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer, no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer, just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
This is Two Pros and a Cup of Joe.
Yeah, baby. A stunning development in the world of sports. J.J. Redick is the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers.
I mean, what's their other option if it's not J.J. Redick? I'm not going to criticize the hire. Who knows? Maybe J.J. Redick could be a really good head coach.
Two Pros, LeVar Arrington, Brady Quinn, and a Cup of Joe, Jonas Knox.
Weekday mornings 5 to 8 a.m. on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
And now the LTN Hour presents Dirt on the Dirt with Brian Schmidt.
Another busy week at dirt track racing. This might be the first week all summer that we've not had to deal with any weather. Amazingly enough, here we are in the middle of July. Start Monday, Eagle, Nebraska. The Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series was there. Hudson O'Neal grabbed the win. Now he's in the car that used to be driven by Ricky Thornton Jr., so remember that as we move through the season here. Tuesday night, Eagle River, Wisconsin. Stock cars. Hot Rod Snellenberger continued his domination up there. The Limited Eights went to Zach Frisky. Francis Crick, the 141 Speedway, had their King of the Creek, which was the headliner for the IMSA stock cars. This was their qualifying night, so the modifieds took center stage Tuesday. Cole Sarneski was your winner. Grand Nationals were also there. Taylor Rahn was your winner. Harlan, Iowa, the Shelby County Speedway for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Hudson O'Neal again got the win. Attica, Ohio, the World of Outlaw and Engineering Sprint Car Series for the Brad Doty Classic. David Gravel grabbed the win there Tuesday night. Wednesday night up at Francis Creek was the King of the Creek. $10,000 to win for the IMSA stock cars, and Luke Lemons grabbed the victory. Also Wednesday night, Rossburg, Ohio, the Eldora Speedway for the High Limit Sprint Car Series, the Double Down Duels. Feature winners were Logan Schuhart and Giovanni Selzi, and they set up the features and the points for the next night, which was the big Joker's Wild Race, which we'll get to shortly. Thursday night, Sycamore, Illinois, the UMP Summer Nationals finished up their season. Jason Fager was your winner. Your 2024 Summer Nationals champion was Tyler Erb. Also Thursday night in Fairmount, Minnesota, the USMTS Modifieds, Rodney Sanders was your winner. Ada, Minnesota, the Norman County Raceway for the IRA Sprint Cars, Mark Dobmeyer grabbed the win. Brandon, South Dakota, the Houston Speedway for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, the Silver Dollar Nationals. Night number one, $10,000 to win. That went to Bobby Pierce. And Thursday night, Rossburg, Ohio, the High Limit Sprint Cars, Joker's Jackpot, $100,000 to win on a Thursday night. That went to David Gravel, as he's having one hell of a season in that car for sure. Friday night, Chilton, Gravity Park in the mods. It was Steve Miller. Stock cars was Mitch Meyer. Beaver Dam had their special following the big race up at 141, so they run a Friday-Saturday doubleheader. Friday night, the IMSA Stock Car Twin 25s. Night number one, $2,500 to win in the stock cars went to Brandon Schmidt. The modifieds, Cole Sarneski, and Grand Nationals was Jeff Richards. Seymour, the Outagamie County Speedway, and the late models, Mike Mullen was your winner. Modifieds, Greg Gretsch. Stock cars was Brett Wenzel. Up at Superior, the Gondik Law Speedway for the Wissota Challenge Series, Wissota late models, Twin Port Twin 25s. twin $2,500 win features. Shane Sabrowski won one of them. Feature number 2 went to Cole Searing. Fountain City, Wisconsin, the Mississippi Thunder Speedway in the modifieds. Keith Foss was your winner. Limited late models, Lance Hofer. Up at Menominee, the Red Cedar Speedway, the modified winner was Shane Halapka. Grand Forks, North Dakota, night number 1 for the IRA sprint cars up there. Mark Dobmeyer made it 2 in a row. Mason City, Iowa, the USMTS Modifieds. Rodney Sanders was your winner. Night number 2 in Brandon, South Dakota at Huset's for the Silver Dollar Nationals. Another $10,000 to win. Bobby Pierce won again. That's a reoccurring theme we've had all summer. Rossburg, Ohio, Eldora Speedway. Night number 1 for the World of Outlaws now. It was 2 nights of high limit, and they switched over to the Outlaws. The night before the King's Royal, Rico Abreu was your winner. Last night at Plymouth in the MSA 360 Sprints, TJ Smith grabbed the win. The late models went to Taylor Scheffler, and the Grand Nationals was Will Source. Beaver Dam, night number 2 for the IMSA Stock Car Twin 25s. Kenny Richards won the $2,500 win there. Modifieds went to Brandon Schmidt. Shawano in the late models, Nick Andelink was your winner. Modifieds, Kevin Feck. Stock cars was Travis Van Stratton. Up at Sturgeon Bay, the Hill Raceway in the modifieds, Dan Ratajczyk was your winner. Stock cars went to Dan Snell Jr. Ashland, the ABC Raceway, the modifieds, Kevin Buzzy Adams. New Richmond, Wisconsin, the Cedar Lake Speedway, the Wissota Challenge Series made a stop, $5,000 to win. Sammy Mars, that is Jimmy Mars' son, continues racing real well there. He's got that track figured out, picking up the win. The modifieds went to Darrell Nelson. The USRA Limited Lates went to Darrell's son, Cade Nelson. Grand Forks, North Dakota, the River City Raceway for the IRA Sprint Cars, night number 2 of that. Mark Dobmeyer made it a clean sweep, winning all the races this weekend up there. Hutchinson, Kansas, the Salt City Raceway. Never heard of that one before. The USAC Silver Crown Series was there. Kevin Thomas Jr. grabbed the win. And Brandon, South Dakota, Huset's Raceway for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, Silver Dollar Nationals, $53,000 to win. A guy not named Pierce and a guy not named Ricky Thornton Jr. won the race. It was Devin Moran picking up the win, the $53,000 there. And the big prize money of the week at Rossburg, Ohio's Eldora Speedway, the 41st Annual King's Royal, $175,000 to win. David Gravel won that. I mean, think about the money David Gravel won this week. He won on Monday. He won on Wednesday. He won on Saturday night. I think he got close to $200,000 on the week. Beat Donnie Schatz. Donnie Schatz started 20th in that 40-lap feature, got the lead with about 6 laps to go, only to have David Gravel get back around him and pick up the win. So big week.
You got it with about 3 laps to go. I watched the finish of that race on my phone just before the second 61-lap Jefferson race started.
Yeah, boy, and then Donnie was not happy in the interview afterwards. He's like, the lady asked him, how did you do it? You came from 20th to get the lead, and he goes, we didn't do it. We didn't win the race. And he was like pissed. I'm surprised to have such a good run like that, but heck of a race there for sure at Eldora. And that is everything for this busy week of no rain.
No rain indeed. For the asphalt side of things, last Sunday at Slinger, it was the Small Car Nationals. It was rain shortened, but they did get 3 of the features in. So Lincoln Johnson was your Bandolero winner. The Super Bees, it was Carter Stark over another Stark. I think it's his brother. And then the Wisconsin Sport Trucks, Mason Calmus was your winner there. On Wednesday night at La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway, it was the Refner 88 twin 44-lap features. Super late models, Ty Majeski, clean sweep, fast time, and both 44-lap features for the overall in a Toby car. Toby also gave him his magic French fry. What's that?
Yeah, I got to see you there, and it was a big treat for me to turn around and see you up on top of the tower and wave to you.
I'm sorry I didn't come down. I wanted to hang out with Dan Plan for a little bit and do some videotaping. Anyway, Toby gave Ty his French fry. More on that later. And then the CWRA also ran there. Paul Payne, he swept both of the 30-lap features for the CWRA. It was a great program. Excellent racing throughout. If you weren't there, you missed out on a great night of racing. Thursday night at Wisconsin International Raceway in Kaukauna, kind of a repeat of the previous week. Super late models, Chad Butts was your winner. In the late models, it was Alex Stumpf. On Friday night at Grundy County Speedway, super late models Andy Jones, fast time and the 40-lap feature win for him. Brazen Bennett was the pro late model winner. At Norway Speedway in the super late models, Joey Pointbrand was the winner in a Toby car. Madison International Speedway, they had double late model features again. Late model feature number 1 went to Will Reese. Late model feature number 2 went to Bobby Wilberg. However, he was DQ'd I heard from Paul Reichert. Thank you so much for sharing the information this week. He was DQ'd for a fuel cell issue.
I think it was too low.
What was it?
1/2 inch too low.
Oh.
Too low. That's what I heard.
Well, I don't know why you put fuel cell in there then. Well, anyway, Sean Scheel ended up being the winner.
Oh, the fuel cell.
Oh, okay.
What's that, Dan?
The fuel cell was too low.
Yeah,
okay.
Half inch.
That's a bummer. Tundra Series ran at Golden Sands on Friday night. It was the Blue Knight 88 in honor of Tom Ruffner. Ty Fredrickson was Excuse me?
I said it's Ruffner week. 2 Ruffner races in 3 days.
I know. Ty Fredrickson was your winner in the Super Lights for that one, and Brazen Bennett picking up the 50-lapper for the Pro Lights. Arca Menard Series at Lucas Oil, Indianapolis Raceway Park. Connor Zilch was your winner. William Sawalich, P3. And then last night, Dells Raceway Park had their monster truck shtick, so there's no racing there. Marshfield Speedway had the John Brevitt Classic. Ty Fredrickson, fast time, and the 35-lap feature winner for the Super Lights. La Crosse Speedway last night. Late models in action for a 50-lap feature for the fair. Skylar Holzhausen, fast time, and that winner for the feature in his Toby car. Also last night, you boys were all there at Jefferson for that Orange Blossom Special Twin 44-lap features to honor Jerry Eckhart. Great show.
Twin 61s, come on now. He was
I'm
number
sorry.
61.
I knew that. I copied and pasted from the other thing. My bad. Break. I'm asking for forgiveness because I've been trying to put it together amongst funeral planning. So, but we didn't finish.
God.
But Casey Johnson was your overall winner. Gabe Summers also had a feature win as well as Casey. Midwest Trucks, Kevin Zilowitsky. There we go. And then Kyle Steckley won the ASA Stars National Tour at Anderson for the Redbud 400.
Not very many cars there. The ASA Star Series doesn't look like it's doing all that great to me. We'll be right back.
A place to be this Saturday night is the Fair Park in Plymouth. See the bumper-to-bumper IRA sprint cars, the Aik Auto Plymouth Dirt Track Racing MSA sprints, and the Sheboygan Flooring B-Mods. A great way to close out the month of July, featuring many of the best drivers in the Midwest displaying their skills on the highly banked Third Mile Oval. And remember, kids, the annual Candy and Coin Drop, sponsored by Vandevart Concrete, coming up on August 3rd. This Saturday, be at the Fair Park in Plymouth. On-track activity at 5:30. We'll see you there.
The summer heat is on, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800. Or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Love it. Embrace it. Right now. The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
That job is sort of the Cowboys' job of the NBA. Everything is under the microscope. Everything. And you got LeBron in there as well. So JJ has to be able to filter out all of the naysayers, the criticism. There's going to be so much gossip here.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan and the Danettes and you.
Weekday mornings 8 to 11 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
And welcome back. I just wanted to say a couple of words about the show at Jefferson last night, the Orange Blossom Twin 61s. What a great salute to Jerry Eckhart. 59 years of racing, and he's still racing 2 different tracks per week. I mean, it's an amazing thing at 81 years old, and a lot of love. What a crowd they had. What a great show. Jordan DeVoy and Casey Johnson at the end of that first 61 lapper really put on a show. Casey, that was Casey's first win this year, believe it or not, and won the overall. Gabe Summers, once he got clear traffic in the second one, just checked out. But it was a good show all the way around, and everyone that was there, I believe, had very positive things to say about it. So congratulations to all involved. I thought it was outstanding. A couple things that we didn't cover yet. They did a tire test at Richmond, and they did it during the day, and decided that they were going to come up with those soft tires that were going to be such a great thing at North Wilkesboro in the All-Star race, and ended up not being as big a deal as we thought it was, where they're going to make that as an option for the Richmond race coming up. You're going to have 2 sets of soft tires and 6 regular sets of tires. You are not able to mix and match them. But in the street, in the test that they had there, that the soft tires only went for 15 laps. But as a disclaimer, the test was during the day, and the Richmond race is going to be at night. So will that make a big difference? Time will tell. Who was watching last week when Corey LaJoie, who is really kind of, I wouldn't say he's on thin ice over there at Spire, but he didn't do himself any favors by causing a major accident last week, pulling a block on Rowdy. You know, there's ways of blocking and there's ways of not blocking. And when you're 4 wide already, I don't know how good of an idea it is to try another block. But there was no penalty from NASCAR. All Rowdy said this week on an interview was there's a payback coming. It can't really be good for his continued employment at Spire, who is in the middle of upgrading their entire program. Am I right?
It doesn't look good at all. And I'm surprised there wasn't a penalty the way they've been handing them out lately. That looked pretty like a boneheaded move, especially when you wreck the field. Usually when you cause a wreck like that and you wreck a bunch of other people that had good days, there's some kind of consequences, and they kind of let this one go, which I'm surprised. And yeah, he's going to have to step up or something. The way they're especially with Childers coming over there next year. If there's no improvement there, they're going to have to start looking somewhere. He's a nice guy, but, you know, nice guys don't win races.
His lone claim to fame is Stacking Pennies podcast. So that's all he's going to be doing shortly if he doesn't shape up pretty soon.
He's always got a career in radio, and as I've been told, pretty much anybody can do radio. Today's race at Indianapolis will be on NBC Channel 4 in Milwaukee, Channel 15 in Madison. Expecting perfect weather. It's going to be in the 80s with only a 5% chance of precipitation. The green flag will be at 1:31 this afternoon, about an hour before the Bickle wedding. 50 laps, 100 laps. Those are the two segments. It's a 160-lap race. And let's watch for maybe a new winner. Although I say that, and then I'm going to take Kyle Larson to win today at Indianapolis. Some unfinished business there for Kyle. Let's go to Dan next. What do you think, Dano?
Boy, I'm gonna go way out on a limb here. I like Tyler Reddick. I think he's good there, but I'm gonna take a chance, like a long shot. Let's go with a Penske car, and how about the 2 car? I'm not sure why.
God. 2 wins in 1 year. Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. Brian?
Make some money.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin. This is one race he hasn't won. It's kind of a crown jewel. And the largest crowd they've had there since 2017 will be booing their ass off when he wins the race.
That's great. PJ. Oh, did we lose PJ? I think we did.
Nope, I'm here. Did you take Kyle Larson?
I did. You can do that.
No, I won't do that. I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney, have him make it 2 in a row.
Wow.
Penske, boy. That'd be a sweep for Penske because they won the IMSA race last fall. They won the Indy 500, and they'd win this. Wow.
I took Kyle Larson, but I think it's a 3-sided, maybe 4-sided coin flip for Hendrick today. That's my feeling on it. Hey, the LTN podcast is available. If you missed the program, you can go to iHeart or iTunes or wherever you download your podcasts. All major platforms carry it. And as a reminder, Racing Nuggets, which is PJ's and Dan Plan, who I got to meet again this last week. He said, "Oh yeah, I remember you." So he's quite the personality. I got to see Dan and PJ. PJ, who do you have this week?
It's still Tommy White.
Oh,
flagman from the Midwest Tour.
And remember, as you watch this race today, that place holds 350,000 people. So if you get 75,000 people there, which is a good Cup crowd, it's going to look empty. So be prepared when you watch it today.
Yeah, that's probably almost double of what they get at Phoenix if you get 75,000 there. So imagine that. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, and to Dave First from the IndyCar Series for being on with us. We appreciate it. They're getting ready to go today. And we'd kind of like everybody to remember that real race cars have doors, even if they do climb in through the windows. Let's Talk NASCAR is produced and directed by Dangerous Dan Margetta. Our engineer is Matt Losi. For all of us involved with the program, we appreciate you tuning in every week. more than you'll ever imagine. And we'll see you next week, everybody.
This program has come to you live from multiple locations via Skype. Any and all comments expressed on this show do not necessarily express the opinions of this station, its employees, or advertisers. Your comments are always welcome at mail@ltnradionetwork.com. Find us at facebook.com/LTN Radio Network. And thank you for your support since 1985. Tune in again next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for the LTN Hour on the LTN Radio Network.